1:53 a.m.
Hi, this is Britney Spears. It's February the 18th. I was just saying I want out of this conservatorship. I've been brought up by visitation of my baby by this conservatorship. I'm confined, restrained, and stripped of my civil rights, and I demand the state of California to review this case because I feel it's illegal.
1:50.
Hi, my name is Britney Spears. I called you earlier, but I'm calling again because I just wanted to make sure during the process of ending the conservatorship that my father has threatened me several times that, he'll take my children away. I just want to be guaranteed that everything will be fine with the process of you guys taking care of everything and things just being the same as far as my custodial. That's it. Bye.
To replay, press 4.
I can totally understand why my family would have a problem with me doing my own thing. Maybe because I never have. I'm sure it is a little bit different and a touch lighter, me not being responsible for 3 18-wheeler trucks with tour equipment and thousands of people to be responsible for on tour, and Dad and my Robin in the corner of every room I've had to be in for the past 20 years. So Jaden, as you undermine my behavior just like my whole family always has, with I hope she gets better, I will pray for her. Pray for what? I keep working so I can pay off Mom's legal fees in her house? Do you guys want me to get better so I can continue to give your dad 40 grand a month? Or is the reasoning behind you guys deciding to be hateful is because it's actually over in 2 years and you don't get anything? I will say it. I sat in that kitchen and looked you straight in the eyes, beautiful boy, and said, how come I can't see you guys anymore? Or just see you guys more? I look forward to seeing you guys weekly. You said, Mama, oh, it'll change. You and your brother left me in that house always 2 hours early. Preston would sleep, you would play the piano the whole time. And if I didn't shower you guys with gifts and have amazing food ready and play a motherfucking saint, it was still never good enough. That one time I asked you, looking straight in your eyes, I want to see you more. You called your dad. I never saw you again. I didn't do anything wrong, and I know I'm not perfect, but the love I've given you and how much I adore you and your diplomatic ways, speaking like Pawpaw, self-entitled, this can be fixed, I will see her when she's better. Jaden, it was a miracle I could even have a normal conversation when I got out of that place. But you were just like my other family. You secretly loved looking at me as something was wrong with me. I didn't need a family hiding shit in houses and whispering shit behind my back, feeling subconsciously guilty because I paid for every fucking thing in both homes. I needed unconditional love and support. But guess what? The whole twist of it all, which would have made a little bit more sense, I was in the greatest state I'd ever been because I was actually able to speak up 100% and say no. It saddens me not one of you have valued me as a person. You've witnessed me how my family has been to me, and that's all you know. Like I said, I feel you all secretly like to say something's wrong with me. Honestly, my dad needs to be in jail for the rest of his life. But like I said, God would not allow that to happen to me if a God existed. I don't believe in God anymore because of the way my children and my family have treated me. There is nothing to believe anymore. I'm an atheist, y'all. I'll be honest with you, I haven't been back to court in a long time because I don't think I was heard on any level when I came to court the last time. I brought 4 sheets of paper in my hands and wrote in length what I had been through the last 4 months before I came there. The people who did that to me should not be able to walk away so easily. I'll recap. I was on tour in 2018. I was forced to do. My management said if I don't do this tour, I will have to find an attorney.
Miss Sears, I hate to interrupt you, but my court reporter is taking down what you're saying.
Okay.
And so you have to speak a little more slowly.
Oh, of course, yes. Okay, I apologize. Great. Okay.
Now,
the people who did this to me should not get away and be able to walk away so easily. recap. I was on tour in 2018. I was forced to do. My management said if I don't do this tour, I will have to find an attorney, and by contract, my own management could sue me if I didn't follow through with the tour. He handed me a sheet of paper as I got off the stage in Vegas and said I had to sign it. It was very threatening and scary, and with the conservatorship, I couldn't even get my own attorney, so out of fear, I went ahead and I did the tour. When I came off that tour, a new show in Las Vegas was supposed to take place. I started rehearsing early, but it was hard because I'd been doing Vegas for 4 years and I needed a break in between. But no, I was told this is the timeline and this is how it's gonna go. I rehearsed 4 to 4 days a week, half of the time in the studio and half of the other time in a Westlake studio. I was basically directing most of the show with my whereabouts, where I preferred to rehearse, and actually did most of the choreography, meaning I taught my dancers my new choreography myself. I take everything I do very seriously. There's tons of video with me at rehearsals. I wasn't good, I was great. I led a room of 16 new dancers in rehearsals. It's funny to hear my manager's side of the story. They all said I wasn't participating in rehearsals and I never agreed to take my medication, which my medication is only taken in the mornings, never at rehearsal. They don't even see me. So why are they even claiming that? When I said no to one dance move into rehearsals, it was as if I planted a huge bomb somewhere. And I said, no, I don't want to do it this way. After that, my management and my dancers and my assistant of the new people that were supposed to do the new show all went into a room, shut the door, and didn't come out for at least 45 minutes. Ma'am, I'm not here to be anyone's slave. I can say no to a dance move. I was told by my, at the time, therapist, Dr. Benson, who died, that my manager called him in that moment and told him I wasn't cooperating or following the guidelines in rehearsals. And he also said I wasn't taking my medication, which is so dumb because I've had the same lady every morning for the past 8 years give me my same medication, and I'm nowhere near these stupid people. It made no sense at all. There was a week period where they were nice to me and they said, I don't want to do, and I told them I don't want to do the, they were nice to me. They said, if I don't want to do the new Vegas show, I don't have to, because I was getting really nervous. I said, I can wait. It was like, they told me I could wait. It was like lifting literally 200 pounds off of me when they said I don't have to do the show anymore, because I was really, really hard on myself and it was too much. I couldn't take it anymore. So I remember telling my assistant, but you know what, I feel weird if I say no. I feel like they're gonna come back and be mean to me or punish me or something. 3 days later, after I said no to Vegas, my therapist sat me down in a room and said he had a million phone calls about how I was not cooperating in rehearsals and I haven't been taking my medication. All of this was false. He immediately the next day put me on lithium out of nowhere. He took me off my normal meds I'd been on for 5 years. And lithium is a very, very strong and completely different medication compared to what I was used to. You can go mentally impaired if you take too much, if you stay on it longer than 5 months. But he put me on that and I felt drunk. I really couldn't even take up for myself. I couldn't even have a conversation with my mom or dad really about anything. I told them I was scared and my doctor had me on 6 different nurses with this new medication come to my home, stay with me, to monitor me on this new medication, which I never wanted to be on to begin with. There were 6 different nurses in my homes and they wouldn't let me get in my car to go anywhere for a month. Not only did my family not do a goddamn thing, my dad was all for it. Anything that happened to me had to be approved by my dad, and my dad only acted like he didn't know that I was told I had to be tested over the Christmas holidays before they sent me away when my kids went home to Louisiana. He was the one who approved all of it. My whole family did nothing. Over the 2-week holiday, a lady came into my home for 4 hours a day, sat me down and did a psych test on me. It took forever. But I was told I had to then, after that I got off, I was told I had to then, after I got a phone call from my dad saying, after I did the psych test with this lady, basically saying I had failed the test or whatever. I'm sorry, Britney, you have to listen to your doctors. They are planning to send you to a small home in Beverly Hills to do a small rehab program that we're gonna make up for you. You're gonna pay $60,000 a month for this. I cried on the phone for an hour and he loved every minute of it. The control he had over someone as powerful as me, as he loved the control to hurt his own daughter 100
1,000%. He loved it. I packed my bags and went to that place. I worked 7 days a week, no days off, which in California, the only similar thing to this is called sex trafficking. Making anyone work against their will, taking all their possessions away, credit card, cash, phone, passport card, and placing them in a home where they work with the people who live with them. They all lived in the house with me, the nurses, the 24/7 security. There was one chef that came there and cooked for me daily during the weekdays. They watched me changed every day, naked, morning, noon, and night. My body, I had no privacy door for my room. I gave 8 gallons of blood a week. If I didn't do any of my meetings and work from 8 to 6 at night, which is 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, no days off, I wouldn't be able to see my kids or my boyfriend. I never had a say in my schedule. They always told me I had to do this. And ma'am, I will tell you, sitting in a chair 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, it ain't fun. And especially when you can't walk out the front door. And that's why I'm telling you this again 2 years later. After I've lied and told the whole world I'm okay and I'm happy, it's a lie. I thought maybe I said that enough. Maybe I might become happy because I've been in denial. I've been in shock. I am traumatized. Fake it till you make it. But now I'm telling you the truth, okay? I'm not happy. I can't sleep. I'm so angry, it's insane, and I'm depressed. I cry every day, and the reason I'm telling you this is because I don't think how the state of California can have all this written in the court documents from the time I showed up and do absolutely nothing, just hire with my money another person to keep my dad on board. Ma'am, my dad and anyone involved in this conservatorship and my management who played a huge role in punishing me when I said, no, ma'am, they should be in jail. Their cool tactics working for Miley Cyrus as she smokes on joints and stage at the VMAs. Nothing is ever done to this generation for doing wrong things, but my precious body who's worked for my dad for the past fucking 13 years, trying to be so good and pretty, so perfect when he works me so hard, when I do everything I'm told in the state of California, allowed my ignorant father to take his own daughter, who only has a role with me if I work with him. They set back the whole course and allowed him to do that to me. That's giving these people I've worked for way too much control. They also threatened me and said if I don't go, then I have to go to court. And it will be more embarrassing me if the judge publicly makes you go the evidence we have. You have to go. I was advised for my image, I need to go ahead and just go and get it over with. They said that to me. I don't even drink alcohol. I should drink alcohol, considering what they put my heart through. Also, the Bridges facility they sent me to, none of the kids, I was doing this program for 4 months. So the last 2 months I went to a Bridges facility. None of the kids there did the program. They never showed up for any of them. You didn't have to do anything if you didn't want to. How come they always made me go? How come I was always threatened by my dad and anybody that participated in this conservatorship? If I don't do this, what they tell me to enslave me to do, they're gonna punish me. The last time I spoke to you by just keeping the conservatorship going and also keeping my dad in the loop made me feel like I was dead. Like I didn't matter, like nothing had been done to me, like you thought I was lying or something. I'm telling you again, because I'm not lying. I want to feel heard, and I'm telling you this again so maybe you can understand the depth and the degree and the damage that they did to me back then. I want changes, and I want changes going forward. I deserve changes. I was told I have to sit down and be evaluated again if I want to end the conservatorship. Ma'am, I didn't know I could petition the conservatorship to end it. I'm sorry for my ignorance, but I honestly didn't know that. But honestly, I don't think I owe anyone to be evaluated. I've done more than enough. I don't feel like I should even be in a room with anyone to offend me by trying to question my capacity of intelligence, whether I need to be in this stupid conservatorship or not. I've done more than enough. I don't owe these people anything, especially me, the one that has roofed and fed tons of people on tour on the road. It's embarrassing and demoralizing what I've been through, and that's the main reason. I've never said it openly, and mainly I didn't want to say it openly because I honestly didn't think anyone would believe me. To be honest with you, the Paris Hilton story on what they did to her to that school, I didn't believe any of it. I'm sorry, I'm an outsider, and I'll just be honest, I didn't believe it. And maybe I'm wrong, and that's why I didn't want to say any of this to anybody, to the public, because I thought people would make fun of me or laugh at me and say, she's lying, she's got everything, she's Britney Spears. I'm not lying. I just want my life back, and it's been 13 years, and it's enough. It's been a long time since I've owned my money, and it's my wish and my dream for all of this to end. without being tested. Again, it makes no sense whatsoever for the state of California to sit back and literally watch me with their own 2 eyes make a living for so many people and pay so many people trucks and buses on tour on the road with me and be told I'm not good enough. But I'm great at what I do, and I allow these people to control what I do, ma'am, and it's enough. It makes no sense at all. Now, going forward, I'm not willing to meet or see anyone I've met with enough people against my will. I'm done. All I want is to own my money for this to end and my boyfriend to drive me in his fucking car. And I would honestly like to sue my family, to be totally honest with you. I also would like to be able to share my story with the world and what they did to me instead of it being a hush-hush secret to benefit all of them. I want to be able to be heard on what they did to me by making me keep this in for so long is not good for my heart. I've been so angry and I cry every day. It concerns me. I'm told I'm not allowed to expose the people who did this to me. For my sanity, I need you to the judge to approve me, do an interview where I can be heard on what they did to me. And actually, I have the right to use my voice and take up for myself. My attorney says I can't, it's not good. I can't let the public know anything they did to me, and by not saying anything is saying it's okay. I don't know what I said here. It's not okay. I don't want to interview. I'd much rather just have an open call to you for the press to hear, which I didn't know today we're doing. So thank you. Instead of having an interview, honestly, I need that to get it off my heart, the anger and all of it that's been happening. It's not fair they're telling me lies about me openly. Even my family, they do interviews to anyone they want on news stations, my own family doing interviews and talking about the situation and making me feel so stupid, and I can't say one thing. And my own people say I can't say anything. It's been 2 years. I want a recorded call to you. Actually, we're doing this now, which I didn't know that we were doing this, to the public who knows what they did to me. I told I know my lawyer, Sam, has been very scared for me to go forward because he's saying if I speak up, I'm being overworked in that facility of that rehab place, the rehab place will sue me. He told me I should keep it to myself, really. I would personally like to, actually, I know I've had grown with a personal relationship with Sam, my lawyer. I've been talking to him like 3 times a week now. We've kind of built a relationship, but I haven't really had the opportunity by my own self to actually handpick my own lawyer by myself. And I would like to be able to do that. I would like to also, the main reason why I'm here is because I want to end the conservatorship without having to be evaluated. I've done a lot of research, ma'am, and there's a lot of judges who do end conservatorships for people without them having to be evaluated all the time. The only times they don't is if the concerned family member says something's wrong with this person and otherwise. And considering my family has lived off my conservatorship for 13 years, I won't be surprised if one of them has something to say and go forward and say, we don't think this should end. We have to help her, especially if I get my fair served in turning exposing what they did to me. Also, I want to speak to you about, at the moment, my obligations, which I personally don't think at the very moment I owe anybody anything. I have 3 meetings a week I have to attend no matter what. I just don't like feeling like I work for the people whom I pay. I don't like being told I have to no matter what, even if I'm sick. Jody, the conservator, says I have to see my coach Ken even when I'm sick. I would like to do 1 meeting a week with a therapist. I've never, even before they sent me to that place, had 2 therapy sessions. A therapy session and 1 therapy session with I have a doctor and then a therapy person. What I've been forced to do illegal in my life, I shouldn't be told I have to be available 3 times a week to these people I don't know. I'm talking to you today because I feel, again, yes, even Jody is starting to kind of take it too far with me. They have me going to therapy twice a week and a psychiatrist. I've never in the past they have me going, twice a week and Dr. Gold, so that's 3 times a week. I've never in the past had to see a therapist more than once a week. It takes too much out of me going to this man I don't know. Number 1, I'm scared of people. I don't trust people with what I've been through. And the clever setup of being in Westlake, one of the most exposed places in Westlake, which yesterday paparazzi showed me coming out of the place literally crying in therapy. It's embarrassing and it's demoralizing. I deserve privacy when I go. And have therapy either at my home, like I've done for 8 years. They've always come to my home, or when the Dr. Benson, the man that died, I went to a place similar to what I went to in Westlake, which was very exposed and really bad. Okay, so wait, where was I? In Westlake, it was identical to Dr. Benson, who died, the one who illegally, yes, 100% abused me by the treatment he gave me too. And to be totally honest with you, I was so...
Excuse me for interrupting you, but my reporter says if you could just slow down a little bit, because she's trying to make sure she gets everything that you're saying.
Okay, cool.
And so if you,
Okay.
that would be great.
I have been through, and the clever setup in Westlake is identical to Dr. Benson, who died, the one who illegally, yes, 100% abused me by the treatment he gave me. And to be totally honest with you, when he passed away, I got on my knees and thanked God. In other words, my team is pushing it with me again. I have trapped phobias being in small rooms because the trauma locking me up for 4 months in that place. Is not okay for them to send me, sorry, I'm going fast, to that small room like that, twice a week with another new therapist I pay that I never even approved. I don't like it. I don't want to do that. And I haven't done anything wrong to deserve this treatment. It's not okay to force me to do anything I don't want to do. By law, Jody and this so-called team I should be able to sue them for threatening me and saying, if I don't go and do these meetings twice a week, we can't let you have your money and go to Maui on your vacations. You have to do what you're told for this program, and then you will be able to go. But it was very clever. They picked one of the most exposed places in Westlake, knowing I have the hot topic of the conservatorship, that over 5 paparazzis are going to show up and get me crying coming out of that place. I begged them to make sure that they did this at my home so I would have privacy. I deserve privacy. The whole conservatorship from the beginning, once the conservatorship from the beginning, once you see someone, whoever it is in the conservatorship, making them money and myself money and working, that whole statement right there, the conservatorship should end. There should be I shouldn't be in a conservatorship if I can work and provide money and work for myself and pay other people. It makes no sense. The laws need to change. What state allows people to own another person's money and account and threaten them and saying, you can't spend your money unless you do what we want you to do, and I'm paying them? Ma'am, I've worked since I was 17 years old. You have to understand how thin that is for me. Every morning I get up to know I can't go on somewhere unless I meet people I don't know every week in an office identical to the one where the therapist was very abusive to me. I truly believe this conservatorship is abusive. And now we can sit here all day and say, oh, conservatorships are here to help people. But ma'am, there's 1,000 conservatorships that are abusive as well. I don't feel like I can live a full life. I don't owe them to go see a man I don't know and share him my problems. I don't even believe in therapy. I always think you take it to God. I want to end the conservatorship without being evaluated. In the meantime, I want this therapist once a week. He can either come to my home. No, I just want him to come to my home. I'm not willing to go to Westlake and be embarrassed by all these paparazzi, these scummy paparazzi laughing at my faces while I'm crying, coming out and taking my pictures as all these white, nice dinners where people drinking wine at restaurants, watching me leave these places. They set me up by sending me to the most exposed places, and I told them I didn't want to go there because I knew paparazzi would show up there. They only gave me 2 options for therapists, and I'm not sure how you make your decisions, ma'am, but this is the only chance for me to talk to you for a while. I need your help, so if you can just kind of let me know where your head is. I don't really honestly know what to say, but my requests are just to end the conservatorship without being evaluated. I want a petition basically to end the conservatorship, but I want it to be petition to end it, but I don't want to be evaluated and be sat in a room with people 4 hours a day like they did me before, and they made it even worse for me after that happened. So I'm honestly new at this, and I'm doing research on all these things. I do know common sense and the method that things can end. For people, it has ended without them being evaluated. So I just want you to take that in consideration. I've also done research. Also took a year during COVID to get me any self-care methods during COVID. She said there were no services available. She's lying, Mom. ma'am. My mom went to the spa twice in Louisiana during COVID. For a year, I didn't have my nails done, no hairstyling and no massages, no acupuncture, nothing for a year. I saw the maids in my home each week with their nails done different each time. She made me feel like my dad does. Very similar, her behavior and my dad, but just a different dynamic. Team wants me to work and stay home instead of having longer vacations. They are used to me sort of doing a weekly routine for them, and I'm over it. I don't feel like I owe them anything at this point. They need to be reminded they actually work for me. They trick me by sending me to the, okay, I repeated myself there. Also, I was supposed to be able to have a friend that I used to do AA meetings with. I did AA for 2 years. I have I did 3 meetings a week. I met a bunch of women there, and I'm not able to see my friends that live 8 minutes away from me, which I find extremely strange. I feel like they're making me feel like I live in a rehab program. This is my home. I'd like for my boyfriend to be able to drive me in his car. And I want to meet with a therapist once a week, not twice a week. And I want him to come to my home because I actually know I do need a little therapy. I was told, hold on. I think and I would like to progressively move forward, and I want to have the real deal. I want to be able to get married and have a baby. I was told right now in the conservatorship, I'm not able to get married or have a baby. I have a ID inside of myself right now, so I don't get pregnant. I wanted to take the ID out so I could start trying to have another baby, but this so-called team won't let me go to the doctor to take it out because they don't want me to have any more children. So basically, this conservatorship is doing me way more harm than good. I deserve to have a life. I've worked my whole life. I deserve to have a 2 to 3 year break and just, do what I want to do. But I do feel like there is a crunch here, and I feel like I feel open and I'm okay to talk to you today about it. But I wish I could stay with you on the phone forever, because when I get off the phone with you, all of a sudden, I hear all these no's, no, and then all of a sudden I feel ganged up on, and I feel bullied, and I feel left out and alone, and I'm tired of feeling alone. I deserve to have the same rights as anybody does by having a child, a family, any of those things, and more so. And that's all I wanted to say to you, and thank you so much for letting me speak to you today.
Okay, so I woke up this morning and I realized that there's a lot going on in my head that I haven't really shared with anyone really. And I've had tons of opportunities, Oprah, interviews, to go on a platform and share hardships or just really anything that's going on in my mind. And I really don't think any of that is relevant to getting paid to tell your story. I feel like it's kind of silly. So I'm here honestly just to open myself to others and try to shed a light on if anyone out there has ever gone through hardships or whatever it is, just to put a light on it, and so that person doesn't feel alone, because I really know what that feels like. I haven't honestly shared this openly too as well, because I've always been scared of the judgment and definitely the embarrassment of the whole thing, period, and the skepticism and the cynical people of what and their opinions of what people would actually think. I do think I'm in a place now where I'm a little bit more confident that I can be willing to share openly my thoughts and what I've been through, because I haven't really had that outlet to share completely openly for so long, just scared of judgments, thoughts of other people and what they think or what they may say. And I think it's crucial for my heart and my head to be able to speak openly about it as if anyone else would. Well, the actual conservatorship actually started, I think, 15 to 16 years ago. I was 25 when it started. I was extremely young. I remember a lot of my friends texting me and calling me, and we're extremely close, and they wanted to see me, but by what had happened, honestly, still to this day, don't know what really I did, but the punishment of my father, I wasn't able to, see anyone or like anything. And you have to imagine none of it made sense to me. I literally spoke in a British accent to a doctor to prescribe my medication, and 3 days later, there was a swap team in my home, 3 helicopters, and I remember my mom's best friend and my 2 girlfriends. We had a sleepover the night before. They held me down on a gurner, and again, none of it made sense. Literally, the extent of my madness was playing chess with, playing chase with paparazzi, which is still to this day one of the most fun things I ever did about being famous. So I don't know what was so harmful about that. But I remember my mom was sitting on the couch and she said, "We've heard people are coming here today to talk to you. We should probably go, to a hotel or something." And I never really understood what she meant. I didn't believe her. Like, is a lawyer coming here? Who is coming here? Then 4 hours later, there were over 200 paparazzi outside my house videotaping me through a window of an ambulance holding me down on a gurner. I know now it was all premeditated. A woman introduced the idea to my dad, and my mom actually helped him follow through and made it all happen. It was all basically set up. There was no drugs in my system, no alcohol, nothing. It was pure abuse. And I haven't even really shared even half of it. I think the main thing I do remember when it started was my dad's control. He loved to control everything I did. I remember the first day he said, "I'm Britney Spears and I'm calling the shots." And I'm like, alrighty then. My brother was a football player. My dad was really, really hard on him when he was younger. Really abusive. And I think when my mom gave him the idea for the conservatorship and his friend, I think he just really regrouped it and made such a really, really overhauling big deal out of it. And it was just really too much. I remember him always being in the office, and my girlfriend was his assistant, and they would just stay in there all day with the door shut, and I was never ever able to leave or go anywhere. My first job after the 2 weeks of being hospitalized and completely traumatized out of my mind, I did a TV show called How I Met Your Mother, and then I started working on an album called Circus, and started working away right away. All I do remember is I had to do what I was told. I was told I was fat every day. I had to go to the gym. I had to just... And I never remember feeling so demoralized, and just, they made me feel like nothing. And I went along with it because I was scared. I was scared and fearful. I didn't even really do anything. And I had like a swap team, and like none of it made sense to me. So since that day, I did probably 4.5 tours. I did an album, Circus, Femme Fatale, Britney Jean, and Glory. And then I started doing a Vegas show in Las Vegas, and I did that for 4.5 years. I do remember working, and I got to a point where, because my pride in my 30s, I have to live under my father's rules, and, the dancers are playing and drinking and having fun at nights in Vegas, and I couldn't do anything. And I remember just being like, my performances, I know, were horrible. Like, I even wore wigs, and all the dancers were doing all these nice, sexy head flip turns, and I had conditioner treatment in my hair and like these little caps over my head, and just during a whole show getting conditioner treatments just with wigs on, because I was just like a robot. Honestly, I didn't give a fuck anymore, because I couldn't go where I wanted to go. I couldn't have the nannies that I wanted to have. I couldn't have cash. And it was just demoralizing. So I was kind of like in this conspiracy thing of people claiming and like treating me like a superstar, but yet they treated me like nothing. Well, for some reason, I started to get a spark back. I remember recording Glory, and for some reason, I think producing and making music, and I went to this little Spanish house, and I got the fire back in my eyes for some reason, and it was at the end of recording Glory, and my son named it, and things started kind of taking a turn because I started getting more confidence just for myself. And I think with confidence, people kind of like, oh, wait, what's going on now? Like, she's speaking up a little bit more, but it might not be particularly a good thing if I'd been quiet for 15 years. I think with confidence comes enlightenment, which makes you think better. And that's the last thing they wanted me to do, is to actually be better, because then who would be in control then? But it was really tricky because I had to just play this role that everything was okay all the time, and I had to go along with it because I knew they could hurt me. So I'm sitting here like my friends all drinking alcohol and having fun in these parties and had no cash. I literally felt like a nun. My girlfriends from home came to visit me in a spa, and I couldn't even walk into the spa, and they had their feet doing pedicures in the water, and the 3 ices of bottles of champagne before my show just sitting there, and I wasn't even acknowledged by them, my own hometown friends, when they would come to Vegas, and it was just it was demoralizing, I will say. You also have to understand it's like, 15 years of touring and doing shows, and I'm 30 years old under my dad's rules, and all of this is going on, and my mom's witnessing this, and my brother is witnessing, and my friends are witnessing it, and they all go along with it. And I'm like, how am I the one working here and doing all this, but I don't get the side things that, the good stuff, I want to be able to play. I want to be able to have fun. Like, none of it made sense to me. Well, the last show in Vegas ended 2017. I went on tour, which a tour I was forced to do, but I was supposed to do a new show. So the new show came along. I rehearsed, I think, maybe 4 days ago. I don't really remember, but I went to one of the rehearsals and I said no to a dance, and I was like, no, can we do that? I don't want to do this. And then I just remember everything got really weird and quiet, and all the directors and producers went in the back room and just spoke. And that was it. And I was like, well, I don't know what's going on. So we all just kind of like, what happened? And then the next day, I was told that I had to be sent away to a facility, and that I was supposed to say on my Instagram the reason why is because my dad is sick and I need treatment, which was, I didn't want to ever go there. I remember my dad calling me on the phone, and I was crying, and I was like, why are you guys doing this? Like, what? And I just remember him saying, you have to listen to the doctors. The doctors are going to tell you what to do. I can't help you now. And I remember his last words were, now, you don't have to go, but if you don't go, we're going to go to court, and there'll be a big trial, and you're going to lose. I have way more people on my side than you. You don't even have a lawyer, so don't even think about it. So I did it. I went to the place. I was scared out of my mind. And none of it, again, made any sense of what they were doing to me. And again, I haven't wanted to share this because it's unbelievably offensive, sad, abusive, and honestly, would anybody believe me? I remember the main thing of when I was in that place, that my heart felt like it was frozen, like it was stuck inside, and I wanted to scream and I wanted to get out. And I think by a needle and thread, it was the breathing peacefully inward that I missed the most. I felt like I was in a state of shock, almost like when an old person feels helpless and they're literally going through some sort of shock treatment and they can't relax their body because they don't have the answers of why they can't have their own keys to their car and put it in ignition and walk outside, and their own security guards at every door saying they can't go. Sitting down, drawing 6 galls of blood every week. Weak as hell. and then calling, and my family is in Destin at my beach house. It didn't make sense. The main thing, I to this day, I kind of stopped believing in God at that time, because I didn't know how they could have 40 people leave my house a day and me work from 8 to 6 at night. Be seen changed every time I changed in the shower. No privacy, no door, nothing. How did they get away with it? And what the fuck did I do to deserve that? I couldn't even smoke cigarettes. People on death row can smoke cigarettes. I missed my AA meetings, although I was kind of forced to go to AA, and I'm not even alcoholic. I actually enjoyed it because I thought the people were brilliant. They shared their stories just to share their story, and in a circle of women and men who just are trying to be better people and trying to touch other people. I missed my AA meetings. I couldn't go in. I couldn't have the keys to my car, no cash, no cigarettes, no door for privacy. It changed me, watched me change naked every day. I did work 7 days a week. No weekends were off. They monitored what I ate. From 8 to 6 I work. Sometimes at 9 o'clock I'd be able to watch a movie. But finally, the owner of the whole facility that I was always texting to try to be able to go somewhere, just get out of the house, that place somehow, he had to let me go. Because the Free Britney campaign came out with all the pink t-shirts. I saw it on a lot of the morning shows, and people by word of mouth, and I think just by my fans knowing by heart that something was up. I remember one of the guys were on an interview on the street, and he said, you know what, I could be totally wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll be really, really embarrassed, and I'll just go have a drink somewhere. He said, but I do feel like they're doing something to her right now, and I'm not surely what it is, but that's what my heart says. But the whole thing that made it really confusing for me is these people are on the street fighting for me, but my sister and my mother aren't doing anything. To me, it was like they secretly, honestly liked me being the bad one, like I was messed up, and they kind of just liked it that way. Otherwise, why weren't they outside my doorstep saying, baby girl, get in the car, let's go? I think that's the main thing that hurt me. I couldn't process how my family went along with it for so long. And I mean, almost half a year, you know? And their only response was, we didn't know. I'm like, I'm on the phone telling you right now, I'm here, please. Eventually, by the grace of God and praying on my knees, I left the place. But I was still scared. I was really, really scared. And from then on, I had support. I needed a lot of support. And I found 2 really, really great people that would come to my house weekly and just help me with my mind, because I didn't understand all the therapy that I had to do there. But why have therapy when it's forced and in like a militant, almost prison-like way that like is where you're not even all there? None of it made sense. Well, I think my strength grew because I didn't reach out to my dad anymore. They were playing the game of ball and twist of, you know, she's going to come running back to us because, you know, we've scared her and we're the bosses here. But I didn't. I just stalled, and I stalled, and I stalled, and I stalled. And finally, I think they just knew I wasn't going back. And I finally got a lawyer. A wonderful friend finally got me a lawyer. And he really helped me through it. To me, the thing was, I think the trauma of all of it and just the whole thing together, and going down to how much effort and work and heart I put into what I did when I did work, even down to the details of how many rhinestones are going to be in my costume. And I cared so much. And they literally killed me. They threw me away. That's what I felt like my family threw me away. I was performing for like thousands of people at night in Vegas, the rush of being a performer, the laughter, the joy, the respect. I was shaking over 40 people's hands every night before a show, training weekly, 3 training sessions a week, AA meetings, therapy sessions. My dad literally, I was a machine. I was a fucking machine. Not even human, almost. It was insane how hard I worked. And the one time I speak up and say no in the rehearsals to a fucking dance move, they got pissed. I feel like the scare tactic and how badly they treated me in the end, I think they thought I was going to come begging back to work again because they thought, I needed them. Because they put me in an ignorant, scared state of mind to make me feel like I needed them. And if you don't do what we say, we're going to show you who's boss. I didn't play their game anymore. I got on my knees every day and I prayed. I held on like a needle and thread to some sort of existence because they had made me feel like nothing for so long. I knew in the deepest part of my core, I knew I'd done nothing wrong and I didn't deserve the way I'd been treated. I do think the hardest thing for me was I wanted to use my feet and leave and run or go somewhere. I had to be placed in a chair from like 8 to 6 every day. I couldn't take it. I talked to rabbis, I've talked to grown men about it, and they're like, we don't see how you did it. Honestly, I don't either. And through that, I remember saying, I don't believe in God anymore. I honestly deserve an award for acting like I was okay every day. I thought they were trying to fucking kill me. I remember one time I was backstage and I needed my inhaler. And I opened up to my assistant because I had my phone with me, which I'm not supposed to have my phone underneath the stage. But I said to her, you know what I'm doing. I was talking to a guy and he wanted to just leave the country with me. We had it all set up to just leave. And it was a secret relationship. And I said, my biggest fear was, what would my dad do if I did do something wrong? What if I left the country? What if they found me? And what would they do? And I said, I feel like they would lock me up or something or really hurt me. And she looked at me and she said, are you kidding me, Britney? Your dad would never do that to you. And I didn't even do anything wrong, and he still did it. I'm honestly more angry at my mom because I heard when reporters would call her at the time and ask questions of what was going on, she would go innocently hide in the house and she wouldn't speak up. It was always like, I don't know what to say. I just don't want to say the wrong thing. We're praying for her. I feel like she could have gotten me a lawyer in literally 2 seconds. My friend helped me get one in the end, but every time I made contact with a firm, my phone was tapped and they would take my phone away from me. And again, I get nothing out of sharing all of this. I have offers to do interviews with Oprah and so many people, lots of money, but it's insane. I don't want any of it. For me, it's beyond a sit-down proper interview. I had no contact in that place for so long, and my heart would just want to stand up in my family's faces and scream and cry and throw a tantrum and go back in time and do exactly what I wanted to do at those times. Yeah, and might even spit in their fucking faces. Why? Because the pain my family gave me, sitting me there all day and not being able to use my feet, as they watch their grandchildren run bases to base in a family neighborhood, as if I'm dead or I don't exist, honestly makes me look up and say, how the fuck did they get away with it? How is there a God? Is there a God? Giving 8 galls of blood weekly, not being able to stand up. I was so weak. And my family's at my beach house. I was scared, broken. I'm sharing this because I want people to know I'm only human. I do feel victimized after these experiences, and how can I mend this if I don't talk about it? I have an amazing song right now with one of the most brilliant men of our time, and I'm so grateful. But if you're a weird introvert oddball like me, who feels alone a lot of the time, and you needed to hear a story like this today so you don't feel alone, know this: my life has been far from easy, and you're not alone. For my boys who are the loves of my life. This book has been a labor of love and all the emotions that come with it. Reliving everything that you're about to hear has been exciting, heart-wrenching, and emotional, to say the least. For those reasons, I will only be reading a small part of my audiobook. I'm so grateful to the amazing Michelle Williams for reading the rest of it, and to you for listening. Prologue. As a little girl, I walked for hours alone in the silent woods behind my house in Louisiana singing songs. Being outside gave me a sense of aliveness and danger. When I was growing up, my mother and father fought constantly. He was an alcoholic. I was usually scared in my home. Outside wasn't necessarily heaven either, but it was my world. Call it heaven or hell, it was mine. Before going home, I would follow a path to our neighbor's house, through a landscape yard, and past a swimming pool. They had a rock garden full of small, soft pebbles that would trap the heat and stay warm in a way that felt so good against my skin. I would lie down on the rocks and look up at the sky, feeling the warmth from below and above, thinking, I can make my own way in life. I can make my dreams come true. Lying quietly on those rocks, I felt God.
Raising kids in the South used to be more about respecting your parents and keeping your mouth shut. Today, the rules have reversed. It's more about respecting the kids. Disagreeing with a parent was never permitted in my house, no matter how bad it got. There was an understanding to stay mute, and if I didn't, there were consequences. In the Bible, it says your tongue is your sword. My tongue and my sword were me singing. My whole childhood, I sang. I sang along with the car radio on the way to dance class. I sang when I was sad. To me, singing was spiritual. I was born and went to school in Macomb, Mississippi, and lived in Kentwood, Louisiana, 25 miles away. Everyone knew everyone in Kentwood. Doors were left unlocked, social lives revolved around the church, and backyard parties. Kids were put in matching outfits, and everyone knew how to shoot a gun. The area's main historic site was Camp Moore, a Confederate training base built by Jefferson Davis. Each year, there are Civil War reenactments the weekend before Thanksgiving, and the sight of people dressed up in military outfits was a reminder that the holiday was coming. I love that time of year. Hot chocolate, the smell of the fireplace in your own living room, the colors of the fall leaves on the ground. We had a little brick house with green striped wallpaper and wood paneling. As a girl, I went to Sonic, rode go-karts, played basketball, and attended a Christian school called Park Lane Academy. The first time I was truly touched and got shivers down my spine was hearing our housekeeper singing in the laundry room. I always did the family laundry and ironing, but when times were better financially, my mama would hire someone to help. The housekeeper sang gospel music, and it was literally an awakening to a whole new world. I'll never forget it. Ever since then, my longing and passion to sing have grown. Singing is magic. When I sing, I know who I am. I can communicate purely. When you sing, you stop using the language of like, hi, how are you? You're able to say things that are much more profound. Singing takes me to a mystical place where language doesn't matter anymore, where anything is possible. All I wanted was to be taken away from the everyday world and into that realm where I could express myself without thinking, where I was alone with my thoughts, my mind filled with worries and fears. Music stopped the noise, made me feel confident, and took me to a pure place of expressing myself exactly as I wanted to be seen and heard. Singing took me into the presence of the divine. As long as I was singing, I was half outside the world. I'd be playing in the backyard like any kid would, but my thoughts and feelings and hopes were somewhere else. I worked hard to make things look the way I wanted them to. I took myself very seriously when I shot silly music videos to Mariah Carey songs in my girlfriend's backyard. By age 8, I thought I was a director. Nobody in my town seemed to be doing stuff like that, but I knew what I wanted to see in the world, and I tried to make it so. Artists make things and play characters because they want to escape into faraway worlds, and escape was exactly what I needed. I wanted to live inside my dreams, my wonderful fictitious world, and never think about reality, if I could help it. Singing bridged reality and fantasy, the world I was living in and the world I desperately wanted to inhabit. Tragedy runs deep in my family. My middle name comes from my father's mother, Emma Jean Spears, who went by Jean. I've seen pictures of her, and I understand why everyone said we look alike. Same blonde hair, same smile. She looked young. Her husband, my grandfather, June Spears Sr., was abusive. Jean suffered the loss of a baby when he was only 3 days old. June sent Jean to Southeast Louisiana Hospital, a by all accounts horrible asylum in Mandeville, where she was put on lithium. In 1966, when she was 31, my grandmother Jean shot herself with a shotgun on her infant son's grave, just over 8 years after his death. I can't imagine the grief that she must have felt. The way people talk about men like June in the South is to say nothing was good enough for them, that he was a perfectionist, that he was a very involved father. I would probably put it more harshly than that. A sports fanatic, June made my father exercise long past exhaustion. Each day when my father finished basketball practice, no matter how tired and hungry he was, he still had to shoot another 100 more baskets before he can come inside. June was an officer for the Baton Rouge Police Department, and he eventually had 10 children with 3 wives. And as far as I could tell, no one wanted to say a good word about his first 50 years of his life. Even in my family, it was said that the Spears men tend to be bad news, especially in the terms of how they treat a woman. Jean wasn't the only wife June sent to the mental hospital in Mandeville. He sent his second wife there too. One of my father's half-sisters has said that June sexually abused her starting when she was 11 until she ran away at 16. My father was 13 when June died on the grave. I know that trauma is part of why my father was how he was with my siblings and me. Why, for him, nothing was ever good enough. My father pushed my brother to excel in sports. He drank until he couldn't think anymore. He'd disappear for days at a time. When my father drank, he was extremely mean, but June softened as he got older. I didn't experience the vicious man who had abused my father and his siblings, but rather a grandfather who seemed patient and sweet. My father's world and my mother's world were complete opposites from each other. According to my mother, my mom's mama, my grandmother, Lillian Lily Portel, was from an elegant, sophisticated family in London. She had an exotic air about her that everyone commented on. Her mother was British and her father was from the Mediterranean island of Malta. Her uncle was a bookbinder. The whole family played instruments and loved to sing. During World War II, Lily met an American soldier, my grandfather Barney Bridges, at a dance for soldiers. He was a driver for the generals, and he loved driving fast. She was disappointed, though, when he found out and brought her to America. She imagined a life like what she had in London. As he drove her through the dairy farm from New Orleans, she looked out the window of Barney's car and was troubled by how many things were so empty. Where are all the lights? She kept asking her new husband. I sometimes think about Lily riding through the Louisiana countryside, looking out into the night, realizing that her large, vibrant, musical filled life of afternoon teas and London museums was about to become small and hard. Instead of going to the theater or shopping for clothes, she would have to spend her life cooped up in the country, cooking and cleaning and milking cows. So my grandmother kept to herself, read a ton of books, became obsessed with cleaning, and missed London until the day she died. My family said that Barney didn't want to let Lily go back to London because he thought that if she went, she just wouldn't come back. My mom said Lily was so distracted by her own thoughts that she had a tendency to start clearing the table before anyone was done eating. All I know was that my grandmother was beautiful, and I loved copying her British accent. Talking in a British accent has always made me happy because it makes me think of her, my fashionable grandmother. I wanted to have manners and a lilting voice just like hers. Because Lily had money, my mama Lynn, her brother Sonny, and her sister Sandra grew up with what you might consider money, especially for rural Louisiana. Even though they were Protestant, my mom attended Catholic school. She was gorgeous as a teenager with her black hair worn short. She'd always go to school wearing the highest boots and the tiniest skirts. She hung out with the gay guys in town who gave her rides on their motorcycles. My father took an interest in her, as he might, and probably in part because June made him work so ridiculously hard. My father was unbelievably talented at sports. People would drive for miles just to see him play basketball. My mother saw him and said, "Ooh, who is this?" By all accounts, their relationship was born out of mutual attraction and a sense of adventure, but the honeymoon was over long before I came along.